hunting the greatest shark in all the seas with this trusty shark net. I am trying to fetch the Cronulla Sutherland. These waters here in Canberra are very choppy, but the Cronulla Sutherland is no match for my shark net. Show yourself.
Howdy everyone, it's Sam. I hope you're doing really well. If you're new around here, I hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. And if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. Got a full round of rugby league coming up, and we've got State of Origin tomorrow night. Game 3 decider. How good? Let's get stuck into the tips. From Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane, Queensland Maroons host the New South Wales Blues, and coming into the game, the Maroons are $3.25 to the New South Wales Blues $1.35. Massive team list changes since they were dropped last week. Karen Munster, Murray Taulagi and Felice Kafusi are out, one due to a personal reason, the other two being due to COVID. So the lineup looks like Kalen Ponga, Selwyn Cobbo, Valentine Holmes, Dane Gagai, and Corey Oates makes his return into the Origin arena to take over Murray Taulagi. Tom Dearden is the hot tip to wear jersey number 6 and make his State of Origin debut in a decider. Tom Dearden, man, what an incredible year and a half it's been for him. Hey, fair income. At halfback is Daly Cherry Evans. And then the forward pack reads Lindsay Collins, Josh Papali'i, and Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt's going to have a pretty busy big night tomorrow night. And then the back row reads Kurt Capewell, Jeremiah Nanai, and Big Tino Fa'asu Malawi. And then the interchange bench reads Harry Grant, Jai Arrow, Patrick Carrigan, and Tom Gilbert also makes his Queensland debut from North Queensland. Go, Tommy Gilbert. Good on ya. And then shifting over to the New South Wales side, James Tedesco is captain and fullback. Brian To'o and Daniel Tupou are the wingers, and the centres are Matt Burton and Stephen Crichton. The halves are Luai and Cleary. And the front row, oh man, Jordan McLean did his hamstring. He was going to make his Origin debut, and he's done his hamstring. So coming in for him is Jacob Saifiti. He makes his debut. Api Coruscant and Jake Trbojevic round out the front row. And then the back row for New South Wales, Cameron Murray, Liam Martin, and Isaiah Yeo. The interchange bench reads Damien Cook, Angus Crichton, Junior Paulo, and Sia Sifa Talakai. And 18th man for both Queensland is Thomas Flegler, and 18th man for New South Wales is Jack White. And don't ever underestimate Queensland, especially from the 2020 series. You don't ever take them lightly. And without Munster and Taulagi, you're probably entitled to take them lightly, but you shouldn't. We know the Queensland spirit. The New South Wales, though, they're a little bit more settled. Again, unfortunate stuff about Jordan McLean, but I just think that this hoodoo, or the win since winning a decider, it's been like since 2005 or something like that for New South Wales to win up in Brisbane. So I think they'll break that. They'll win at Suncorp Stadium, probably 13 plus. Not an extravagant one, but I'm going to tip New South Wales to win this one by 13 plus, and an anytime try scorer Let's flick through it. I reckon Matt Burton will get another one. I thought his kicking game was the difference in game 2, and I think he's going to score another try as well. So New South Wales to win 13+. Round 18 of the 2022 NRL season starts on Friday. There are 2 games. We're going to focus on game number 2. It's the Parramatta Eels versus the New Zealand Warriors, and the Eels are $1.18 favourites to the New Zealand Warriors $5, and closer to kick-off, I reckon that price could even float out a whole lot more on the New Zealand Warriors. So if you want to tip on Parramatta, get in right now, I reckon, because Parramatta, they've named an unchanged lineup from the team that beat West Tigers last week. Junior Paulo has even been named in the 1-17, so we'll see what happens. And I mean, this round pretty much comes with the disclaimer that Origin stars may or may not bounce back and play this weekend. But besides that, Parramatta Eels, they're unchanged. And then for the Warriors, however, there's a few edits here and there. So at fullback, Reece Walsh. The wingers are Marcelo Montoya and Edward Cozy. Cozy comes in for DWZ because he has COVID, unfortunately. And Jesse Arthurs and Adam Pompey are the centre pairing. Chanel Harris-Tavita comes in for Volkman, who is suffering from the virus, and his partner Sean Johnson. The front row is Fanua Blake, Tohu Harris, Wade Egan, Ewan Aitken, Josh Curran, and Jazz Tavanga at the back row. And then the bench is Lasik, Afoa, Pene, and Murchie. This is the first time the Warriors have played at Combank Stadium since 2020, when they went down to the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and they've only played Parramatta Eels once at Combank, and that was in its first year of existence, 2019. So they haven't taken on Eels in Parramatta since 2019, the Warriors. So that's, what, 3 years or so. Yeah, I think the price is going to go out a little bit more on the poor old Warriors, and I'm going to tip the Parramatta Eels to get this one done by 13+, something like a 32 points to 12 sort of scoreline on Friday night. On Super Saturday, there are 3 games, and game number 1 is from Central Coast Stadium in Gosford. The Sydney Roosters host the St George Illawarra Dragons, and the Roosters are $1.45 favourites to the St George Illawarra Dragons, $2.75. And for the Roosters, Tedesco is at fullback. Tupou Sawali have been named. Billy Smith and Momirovski are in the centres. Joseph Manu and Sam Walker have also been named as a halves combination. So Luke Keary is still suffering from HIA symptoms, unfortunately, or concussion symptoms, sorry. Lindsay Collins, Take Aho are the front row, with Sam Verrills slotting in hooker, and the back row is Crichton, Tupanua and Radley, and the interchange bench reads Watson, Butcher, and Jared Wawerea-Hargreaves returns this weekend. Oh, that's a massive in. And then you move over to the St George Illawarra Dragons, and Cody Ramsey, man. Whoa, dude. Matthew Fenge and Tautau Moga are the wingers. Now, Moga comes in for Ravalawa, who did his hamstring to the extent I'm not too sure yet. I don't think that's been revealed. And then the halves pairing is Amone and Ben Hunt. And again, disclaimer, Origin stars are, to be classified sort of thing until game day or the 11th hour. And then the front row reads Molo, Laurie and McCulloch. The back row reads Bird, Sewer, and DeBellin moves into the lock role because Tarek Sims got himself suspended, and so he is out for St George Illawarra as well. Moses Mbai, Josh Kerr, Aaron Woods, and Jaden Hunt round out the back row. And Matt Lodge, just for the Roosters, just quickly, is floating around in there in jersey number 19. So watch this space. St George Illawarra Dragons had won 2 in a row. Impressively so against South Sydney, and then just got the job done against Canberra, and I thought they were in that game against the Brisbane Broncos, but Tarek Sims' double sin bin whammy just sucked the life out of him a bit too quickly. Sydney Roosters are sitting in 10th, Dragons are 9th. This is an enormous game. Roosters are so much better in the for and against department as well. One win could see them shoot up to 8th, I think even 7th maybe. But it shoots them well back into finals calculations, and at this point, of the season. I think they're the most disappointing team of 2022, to be honest with you. But in any event, I think they're going to get their season back on track at the expense of the Dragons. And the Roosters are going to win this one 1-12 because the Dragons did beat the Roosters on Anzac Day earlier this year in a cracker. But I think the Roosters will even the ledger and beat the Dragons 1-12 on Saturday at 3 p.m. Game number 2 on Super Saturday is from 4 Pints Park, and it's the Manly Warringah Seagulls hosting the Newcastle Knights, and Seagulls are $1.37, Newcastle are $3.10. Going into Manly team list news now, and they're pretty much unchanged 1 through to 7, Tuipulotu, Kohler, Harper, Saab. And then going into the front row, Sean Kepi, Sipley, Lachlan Croker, Olakau'atu, Davey and Travojevic. That's the forward pack. And then the interchange benches, Walker, Schuster, Tapau, and Paseka. And then shift over to Newcastle Knights. Kalen Ponga has been named to play in jersey number 1, but Texoy's had a couple of nice touches. Well done to the young man. He's actually had a couple of nice touches over the past couple of weeks. And then the wingers, Young and Lee. Gagai has been named, and Brodie Jones in jersey number 17 has been named for Newcastle. Been a long time since I've seen that name, and that's unfortunate because I think a lot of people rate Brodie Jones. This is a danger game for sure. No games are easy in the NRL, but this is a danger game for Manly. If they don't take them seriously, they might get caught out. But I think Manly will get the job here, get the cookies done. I reckon Manly Seagulls will get the job done 1-12 on Super Saturday. And the main event on Super Saturday is from Seabar Super Stadium. We see the Gold Coast Titans host the Brisbane Broncos. The Titans are $3.10 and the Brisbane Broncos are $1.37. This could be a huge 13 plus points victory to the Brisbane Broncos, man. Let's get into the team list news. So the Titans have Brimson in at fullback and Sisefo Fafita in jersey number 2. Is that his debut? Let me scroll down just quickly. It looks like he's going to make his NRL debut. Sisefo Fafita in jersey 2, so well done to you, young man. Philip Sami and Herbert are the centres, and Corey Thompson is in jersey number 5. So that's a pretty strong 1-5. And then the halves pairing is Tanner Boyd in at 5'8", and Toby Sexton is in there at halfback. Oh, okay. And then the forward pack reads Fodawaker, Liu as the front rowers, and Aaron Booth is in there at jersey number 9. Fafita, Fermor, and Fa'asuamala-Aui are the starting back row. And then the interchange is Clark, Jolliffe, SA, and Paul Turner in jersey number 17. And so the likes of Sam McIntyre, Brian Kelly, Kevin Proctor, they are out of this Gold Coast Titans lineup. It's definitely a different looking lineup. For example, Aaron Booth is in there at jersey 9 with Clark coming off the bench. That's a sign of change. Interesting lineup from Holbrook, who also lost his defensive assistant coach in Jim Dimmick over the past couple of days as well. For the Brisbane Broncos, Tessie New, who had a sensational return over the weekend, he's in at fullback, and the wingers are Deloise Hoyter and Jordan Pereira, and Staggs and Brinko Lee are the centre pairing with Ezra Mam and Adam Reynolds as the halves. So looks like Selwyn Cobbo is going to get a rest straight away from Kevy Walters, and I think that's the right course. That's the right course of action. Then the forward pack reads Palacia James with Walters and a hooker. Zach Hosking had an awesome debut for Brisbane last week, and he's back in jersey 11 with Ricky Nevington rounding out the back row. And then the interchange bench reads Turpin, Kennedy, Flegler, and Tyson Gamble coming off of the bench. Brisbane Broncos to win this one by 13 plus. And the first game on the Sunday ticket is from Combank Stadium for the second time this weekend. The West Tigers are hosting the Penrith Panthers, and on Sportsbet, it's the West Tigers who are $4 and the Penrith Panthers are $1.25. And let's shift into the West Tigers now. Dane Laurie is fullback, Norfoluma and Mamalo are the wingers, To'a and Roberts are the centres. And then the halves pairing is Adam Duahi and Luke Brooks. Jackson Hastings has been shifted out into the lock position, and the rest of the forward pack reads Offahan Galway and Zane Musgrove, with Fa'amanu Brown in at jersey number 9, and Justin Matamua, Kelma Tuolangi are the back row that surround Jackson Hastings in at lock. Fanua Pole in jersey 14, James Tamau comes off the bench in jersey 15, Luke Garner and Jake Simkin complete the interchange bench. And then shifting over to the Penrith Panthers, Dylan Edwards is still there at fullback with Taylor May and Charlie Staines as the winger combination. And then Tango and Robert Jennings are the centre combinations. So the likes of the Crichton and To'o and Nathan Cleary and Jerome Luai are going to get the rest this weekend, because Kurt Falls and Sean O'Sullivan have been named as the halves pairing this weekend. Then the forward pack reads Leota, Fisher Harris, Kenny Kikau, Chris Smith, Matt Eisenhuth. And then the interchange bench reads Sonny Luke, Scott Sorensen, Spencer Linu, and Jamin Saman. And Sunia Taruva has been named in at jersey number 18. So that's interesting that he's been named in 18, the young Fijian fullback superstar from a couple of weeks ago. This is going to be an acid test for the West Tigers, especially Luke Brooks. Personally, Luke Brooks had an absolute shocker last week. Man, if you want your spot in 2023, this is one of them games where you've got to really step up. And they weren't bad last week per se, the West Tigers. They were very committed. They had a lot of pride in the jersey last week, but they were just, they were a cog off as far as talent goes against Parramatta Eels. And even though Penrith are losing a lot of State of Origin stars this weekend, there's still a massive forward pack that they have to contend with the likes of Kikau and James Fisher-Harris as well. So I'm going to give the nod to the Penrith Panthers here. A 13 plus points victory, but nothing too insane. 26-28 points to 10-12 Penrith Panthers way on Sunday. Game number 2 on the Sunday ticket is from Amy Park in Melbourne. The Melbourne Storm host the Canberra Raiders, and the Storm come into the game as $1.31 favourites to the Canberra Raiders $3.50. And just a fun little fact, Canberra Raiders haven't lost at Amy Park since 2008. They're on a 3-game winning streak against the Melbourne Storm, and that includes a week 1 finals matchup from 2019. But they have been belted by the Melbourne Storm over the past couple of seasons up at Suncorp or Sunshine Coast Stadium as well. So it's not completely one-way traffic, but the Raiders, technically, they haven't lost at Amy Park since 2018, and they're on a 3-game winning streak. Let's get into the team list news now. For the Melbourne Storm, Pappenhausen is back at fullback. Meaney and Eremaya are the wingers. Seve and Olam are the centres, and Cameron Munster has been named to play in jersey number 6, which is fascinating because Cameron Munster and Murray Taulagi got ruled out for Origin on the same day. Taulagi and Munster both come out of isolation on the same day, yet Munster has been named, whereas Murray Taulagi for the North Queensland Cowboys hasn't. So that's interesting. And he partners Jerome Hughes, and then the forward pack reads Bromwich, Asafa Solomona and Grant. And then the back row, Kafusi returns, so I reckon he might be charged up emotionally. And then Kenny Bromwich and Josh King. The interchange bench reads Wishart, Kamikamika, Alex McDonald and Jordan Grant. And then you shift over to the Canberra Raiders, and Xavier Savage is at fullback. Chotrich and Rapana are the wingers. Timiku and Chris are the centres, and the halves are Whiten and Fogarty. The forward pack reads Papali'i and Joseph Tarpany. Zach Wolford is the hooker. Young, Whitehead and Sutton are the back row, and then the interchange bench is Starling, James Schiller, Adam Elliott and Corey Horsburgh. Melbourne Storm back at home. They're on a 2-game losing streak, surely not 3 at home. Melbourne Storm to win this one, 13 plus. Not a big one, but just 13 plus. And the final game of round 18 is from Accor Stadium. The Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs host the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Rabbits are $1.31. The Bulldogs are $3.50. And the team list news for the Bulldogs is Avarilla at fullback. Karaz at Okar are the wingers. Shup and Braden Burns are the centres. Matt Burton and Flanagan are the halves, and the forward pack is unchanged. TPJ, Tavita Pengai Jr. is in there at jersey number 13, and then interchange bench reads Docker Clay, Curtis Moran, Joe Stimson, and for Taylor Mariner. And then shift over to South Sydney. Mitchell, Alex Johnson has been named, Tane Milne, Isaiah Tass, Jackson Paulo, Lachlan Ilias has been named to back up after getting knocked out on the second play of the game last week. And then the forward pack is Totola, Nichols, Kola Matangi, Cameron Murray is there, Jai Arrow, that's a massive in Cameron Murray, man. Then the interchange bench is Cody Nikarima, Jed Cartwright, Sliva Havili, and Thomas Burgess. Bro, I'm going to tip the South Sydney Rabbitohs to get this one by 13 plus. Cameron Murray is a massive inclusion. Yeah, that Rabbitohs should have too much power. It's fascinating that they are the worst team in the comp for completions, but they're up there with the most running meters out of any team. They're in the top 5 for most meters eaten up. So yeah, man, if you can stop the Rabbitohs from running the ball from one end down to the next, you're in with a chance. I just don't think the Bulldogs. Don't know. I think the Rabbitohs also have some points in them as well. So yeah, South Sydney Rabbitohs to win this one 13 plus. Yo guys, that's it for me. Thank you very much for tuning in once more. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share and subscribe. And please tune in to my conversation with the Fins Up podcast of the Rugby League Outlaws, where we preview Cowboys and Sharks. It's going to be a really good conversation. I can't wait to meet those dudes online. Thank you all very much again for the support, and have a very nice weekend. I hope your team wins, except for the Cronulla Sharks, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Adios.